your hands out here. 72. Caliber 21. It's in the air.
If you guys can confirm that there's people that need first aid, and that's the shooter who's not complying, they need to take care of the victims. They have to shoot in the shootout.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm completely sober. Never did drugs a day in my life.
21. Get the EMS over here.
Well, I did drugs when I was little, but I don't do drugs now. I'm sober. I'm not trying to fight you.
63.
Get your butt inside. Gatlin, get your butt inside.
We on primary?
Now.
29, we got 3 kids down.
On June 15th of 2023, Chad Doerman allegedly lined up his 3 young sons, ages 3, 4, and 7, in the front yard of their Monroe Township home and shot them execution style in front of their pleading mother. Now I need to add a disclaimer here. This case is going to make you angry. It's going to leave you with more questions and answers at this point, but we are going to cover everything we know so far of this chilling case. So go ahead and grab your cup of coffee because it's time for your true crime coffee break here at Crime Cafe with Krysten Quinn. Chad Christopher Doerman is a 32-year-old from Richmond, Ohio. His wife is Laura Doerman, and they have 4 children. The oldest is 16-year-old Alexis, who is Laura's daughter from a previous relationship, Clayton, who is 7, Hunter, 4, and Chase, who is 3. Chad was the breadwinner for the family, and Laura was a stay-at-home mom to raise her children and take care of the household. The family lived in Richmond in Claremont County in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that was set right along the Ohio River. To the outside, a stranger would see a loving family. All 3 boys played baseball. They absolutely loved sports. The boys were loving and sweet and just loved each other so much. From Facebook, you would think Chad loved his family. It was just that Monday, June 12th, that Chad had changed his profile picture and the background picture to his 3 little boys. Happy, smiling, completely full of life. But on June 15th, just 2 days later, Chad did the unthinkable.
911, where's your emergency?
There's a girl running down the street saying that her stepfather is killing everyone in her family. It's on the corner of where there's a body shop and the fire department. Do you know what road this is?
Okay, what's your name?
Get into the fire department.
What's your name?
Do you know what road this is? Laura Lindell Road.
You said what?
It's Laura Lindell Road.
Okay, and what did the female say to you?
And she says that her stepfather is killing everybody in her house. I did. I'm on the phone with them right now.
Did she say how or what was happening?
I asked her to get in the car with me, and she said she couldn't leave her family. But I think she ran to the fire department.
So she went to the fire station. What did she look like?
She's probably a young teenager, probably like 16 maybe, with long blonde hair. And she has a black dog.
Did she say anything about a baby?
I don't know about no baby. She said she just couldn't leave her family. But I see a car running around. I'm sorry?
Do you see anything from the house?
So I drove down the road a little bit, so I was afraid that I was going to get shot myself since I interacted with her face-to-face. So I'm just about maybe 3 houses down. But she's waiting at the corner. I don't know what she's doing, but I kind of still see her in the corner. But I saw a car kind of came around and whipped around, so I'm not exactly sure if that's him or if he's chasing her or not. I'm sorry?
What kind of vehicle was it?
I saw it. It was like a gray. Did you see that car whip around? It's one of the fire department guys.
Okay.
I think maybe a fire department guy. It was a regular kind of Focus-looking gray car.
Okay, we have help on the way. Thank you so
Dark
much.
gray.
If you
Okay, all right.
Else, call us back, okay, and steer clear of the area at this time.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, are you inside where you're safe?
I'm standing outside where I can see the fucking lady.
Okay.
I'm across the street at Lindell Automotive.
Can you tell how many people have been shot?
I think 2 children
Okay. All right, I need, what was
that
your
I've
name,
seen.
sir?
My name is...
What's your last name? All right, we've got help on the way. If you could just try to stay inside so that you're safe.
All right.
All right, thank you.
The afternoon of June 15th, 2023, a 911 call was made around 4:15 p.m. A call came in from a mother screaming about her babies being shot. And another came in from the same area about a teenager running down the street screaming about her stepfather killing everybody. The teenager was Laura's 16-year-old daughter, Alexis. She had run down and across the street to the town's firehouse, screaming the entire way. During this time, every patrol car was dispatched within seconds. A dispatcher can be heard advising for everyone to go inside the firehouse and for the ambulances to turn off their sirens to not alarm the suspect. It was also heard on dispatch that they had a 16-year-old inside the firehouse safe. When the officers got to the home, they could see a man sitting on the front porch, and they pulled it as close as they perceived was safe and found the best and safest route to approach the home.
Where's he at?
The shooter's on the porch.
Get him right here. Right here. You got him on the porch.
We've
Right here.
asked, that's the last place we've been told.
You
that
show me your hands now! Stand up and walk towards us! Stand up now! Walk towards us! Stand up with your hands up!
We got a visual in the mail. Not showing his hands, not following commands.
Stand up now!
Not showing hands, so we're following commands. His name is Chad Doerman. Chad Doerman.
I know, but we can't.
People need first aid, and he's not complying. And you know he's a shooter, shoot him.
We gotta find cover first. We ain't no good if we ain't safe ourselves. Hey, no. We need to come from this side where we can see them. Don't take cover behind her. We see them. We're going to approach from this side. We got cover. Right here.
Six cover, 29 and 63 is type out.
We're not working right now.
Show us your fucking hands now! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up now! Stand up! Stand the fuck up!
The stage and air carrier is going to go ahead and fly whenever any units can advise.
Get your hands out of here.
72.
Cover 21. It's in the air.
Those guys can confirm that there's people that need first aid, and that's the shooter who's not complying. They need to take care of the
I got it.
victims. If they have to shoot him, then shoot him.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm completely sober. Never did drugs a day
63,
in my
we're
life.
21. Get the EMS over here.
Well, I did drugs when I was little, but I don't do drugs now. I'm sober. I'm not trying to fight you.
63.
Get your butt inside. Gatlin, get your butt inside.
We on primary?
Now.
29, we got 3 kids down.
3 kids down, 16 up.
Gatlin.
63, we're 21.
Knock
Have
it off.
EMS respond over here.
You're clear, they're being advised.
Robert 34, just started mass casualty response.
63, do you want them to respond to the Laurel Lindale address? Where exactly do you need them?
We're right in the front yard. What are you doing, man?
Hey, are you copying all this?
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
You got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing. Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him.
All right.
He won't bite you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm gonna
I
get
ain't
you
gonna
here
do
in a
nothing. I ain't
second.
running away. You can do whatever you want with me.
Here. You the only one else inside the house?
What?
You the only one else inside the house?
Yep.
Sit down right here.
My daughter, she ran over to the fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in the cage.
This is Wilson.
They're all being advised they've requested 2 additional medics. There's also aircraft flying, but they need an LV and medic coming instead.
Can you get the wallet out of my back pocket? Shut up, dude.
21.
You had the right to remain silent, you fucking user. Yes, sir.
Take the call, I'm on the mouse right now. How much there? Yeah, 9 is where G and Captain's away.
The words that came to mind after watching that body cam footage, I can't really say here, but if you're feeling angry, trust me, I'm angry too. The calm of Chad, the way he looks up at the officer and says nothing when asked what's going on, as if his 3 little babies aren't laying just feet away from him, lifeless. If that's not looking straight in a monster's eyes, I'm not really sure what is. Claremont County Prosecutor Mark Telkolov revealed more details about the accusations against Chad Doerman in court. He said that Doerman killed his 4-year-old son Hunter first, that he shot him twice in the head inside their home. 7-year-old Clayton fled, and he was gunned down from behind as he ran through a field near their home. Doerman then went up to the fallen boy and then shot him in the head. He then ripped 3-year-old Chase from his mother's arms and shot him in the head. And Laura was shot in the hand trying to keep her babies from being harmed. Laura was taken to the Cincinnati hospital and was later told that evening that her boys did not make it. On Friday, June 16th, Chad appeared at the county courthouse on 3 counts of aggravated murder. He had multiple officers with him in the court, and he was wearing a jumpsuit designed specifically to keep inmates from being able to shred the material and harm themselves. Chad's attorney actually requested a $75,000 bond, stating that Chad had co-signers for that bond, which was his parents. The prosecutor responded with a more detailed view of exactly what happened and why his bond should be the highest amount that he had ever asked for.
This point are as follows. The trauma that this man has inflicted on his family, the community, law enforcement, first responders, and all of the rest of us who have any idea what's going on here is unspeakable. There's been a full admission in this case, Judge. The case is still new. We're still discovering facts. But the evil horror of what we know is impossible to process. In an act of just incomprehensible cruelty, the father that stands before you lined up his 3 young boys, and he executed them in his own home with a rifle. They were ages 3, 4, and 7, Judge. In an act of desperation to save her children, the mother at some point grabbed the gun that father was wielding to attempt to protect them. We know that one of the boys was able to flee into a field near the home. And again, we know from his admission, father hunted that boy down, drug him back to the property, and executed him in front of witnesses. The mother was shot through the hand in her attempt to protect her children. Judge, I asked the court setting this bond to just begin to imagine their fear. This was the man that every day they woke up looking to for protection, love, guidance in all things. Man they trust more than any other person on earth. The person they rely upon to keep them safe from harm. He was their world. He was their guardian. And he executed them in cold blood. We know that from his admission. By that same admission, Judge, he has committed one of the most monstrous, craven, cowardly acts that will ever be our misfortune to see. To make things even more disturbing, Judge, this was no haphazard act. Again, by his own admission, he planned the events of this day. This did not happen on a whim. He's confessed to what I believe is the worst crime, at least I hope, that I'll see in my lifetime. I hope it's the worst fact pattern that ever comes before this court. Judge, it's important for the court to know, in the bond we're going to request today, for the court to understand Claremont County deputies, Monroe Township Fire and EMS, and other first responders bravely respond to the scene where they don't know what's going on. They did not know what they're facing, and they come into a scene that no one can ever be prepared for. No law enforcement training, no training of any kind prepares you for this. It's easy to forget that these are men and women with families, children, feelings, emotions. They're not some automaton performing a delegated function. They're people. They were required to give CPR to gunshot children, 3, 4, and 7-year-old children. They held these boys in their arms, knowing there was nothing they could do to save them. How long do those scars last? What day do you wake up from that and you're healed? How do you unsee such an abomination? The bond factors this court needs to consider today are set forth in Criminal Rule 46, nature and circumstance of the crime charged, and specifically whether the defendant used or had access to a weapon, including the seriousness of the offense. It's the most serious offense that we have on the books, Judge. This is it. You can't commit a more serious offense. So the nature of the crime charged is the worst crime that can be charged. Did he have access to a weapon? Yes, obviously he did. The weight of the evidence against the defendant at this point, Judge, we stand here with a full admission of the defendant. That also goes to the confirmation of the defendant's identity, and witnesses on scene did see at least part of what happened. Next, the court is to consider the likelihood this person would return the court if a bond were issued. Again, this is the most heinous crime with the most severe penalty under the law that we presented to the grand jury. That alone would be a major factor in discouraging a person from availing themselves to this court or any other. And the thought to flee and the likelihood of flight is great in the state's opinion. The danger he poses to the community is a factor that this court can consider, and I think with the facts in front of you, Judge, we can't name a person that poses a greater threat to the community. As his prior record goes, Judge, it is fairly minimal. He was charged with domestic violence in 2010. He is not, to my knowledge, on probation community control. Judge, the facts of this case are hopefully like no other we will ever see. When this case gets indicted in the Court of Common Pleas, I am certain that a no bond hearing will be held, and I would hope that would be granted. But at this point, at this juncture, we're going to ask this court to issue a bond we've never asked for before. I'm going to ask for a bond of $20 million. And I hope I never need to request such a bond again.
Thank you. Date for preliminary hearing?
The date for the preliminary hearing, Judge, is 6/26.
No objection, Your Honor. The preliminary hearing will be set for June 26th at 1 p.m. At this point in time, bond's going to be set in the amount of $20 million cash or surety. Anything else at this time, Mr. Gast?
No, Judge.
Mr. Count. Mr. Count, anything further?
Nothing at this time.
All right, thank you.
Now, at the end there, you can hear Chad say something that sounds like CCO2, and it's speculated that he is actually asking for the non-populated area in the county jail, which is essentially protective custody. There's a little bit of knowledge on Chad's past criminal history. He has a lot of motor vehicle offenses, and he was actually arrested in 2010 for allegedly choking his father, Keith Doerman. But that case was dropped when Keith didn't show up to court. It was on Saturday, June 17th, Keith, Chad's father, did an interview and said that the 2010 charge was just a misunderstanding and that's why he dropped it. Keith actually described his son Chad as a fun and loving dad and that he can just tell that Chad snapped. He said he saw him in the courtroom and his eyes were hollow and that was not Chad. He also called his son a super father and that he wasn't the type of person who would do something like this and that he was a good kid. Keith said he hasn't been allowed to speak to Chad at all. And when he was asked about a motive, he said, quote, "I don't know if it was financial. I don't know if it was mental. I don't know if it was work related. I don't know. I can't talk to him," end quote. He then said he couldn't handle anymore and he hung up the phone. So we have yet to find a motive of this heinous crime and we don't know if we actually ever will. What we do know is that Chad planned this. He was planning on killing his 3 babies for months. In some interviews with neighbors, one really stood out to me.
He was very angry. Every day yelling at his wife, dogging her, downgrading the kids, just very angry. And if they didn't do what he said, and I've seen it firsthand, but I never thought that he would do that.
So what we know then is that Chad was drinking daily. He was an extremely angry person. He downgraded his wife and his kids constantly. He was heard threatening to kill the neighbors' animals. He was a very, very angry man. Was obviously sending signals out that something was majorly wrong there. Chad Doerman's case is actually the first death penalty eligible case in Claremont County in about 30 years. And his next hearing is set for July 5th at 11 a.m. So I will definitely keep on top of this case and continue to update as we know more. Make sure to add Crime Cafe to your subscription list if you want to follow up with this case. To my current subscribers, I'm really happy to say that I am completely back, completely. So I have some amazing things planned and I'm ready to bring you the solved, unsolved, cold cases and everything in between. And, you know, everyone deserves to have their stories told. So I am just ready to hit the ground running with all of that. So until your next true crime coffee break, please stay safe and thank you so much for your time.